Hello and welcome. Today we're going to repair our extra large cat scratching post. As you can see here, a few of these sisal rope bands have fallen down and are making it a little bit more difficult for the cats to enjoy. So with a glue gun and a little bit of effort, we're going to fix this thing up. Here's a picture of the scratching post brand new. It happens to be the Midwest Homes Feline Nouveau Grand Forte scratching post. The base is 19 inches deep, 19 inches wide, and 41 inches tall, making it a pretty substantial piece. This is one of the larger scratching posts you can buy. Of course, you could make your own, but out of the box, this is a great size. We like it because it's tall and lets the cats stretch out. It's super durable, and despite all their shenanigans, it's really difficult for them to pull it over. It has happened, but it's very rare. Okay, back to the scratcher. You can see some of the sisal bands have broken and fallen down, creating a little bit of a mess, and they've also allowed some of the cardboard to be exposed by virtue of no longer being in the right spot. Oh, Squeaks is going to help us. You can see how big the scratcher is. She can stretch out and get a full body stretch, but there's that cardboard exposed that we just want to clean up and get the sisal back in place. A little bit of glue and wrapping that back around, we think we'll get those back in the proper spot. That is, of course, assuming Squeaks gives us the ropes. Okay, we've moved the scratcher on a little table just to bring up the height so it's easier to work on. As we mentioned, we need to take these ropes, unwind them so that we can wrap them around and get them glued into place. This activity and new location did not go unnoticed by Squeaks, who decided to test the stability of the cat scratcher on top of the table. So what we're going to use here is a glue gun and glue sticks. I picked these up at the local hardware store. I think the whole price was $5. $3.50 for the glue gun and $1 something for the sticks. They're more expensive models, but since this is my first pass, I thought I'd try it. And by the way, you got to plug it in order for it to heat up. So we untangle the sisal ropes, get them straightened out so that we can loop them around with ease. My helper came back. And you can see here, we've got a pretty decent amount of space to fill in. So we can see how that sisal rope slid down from them pulling it down and jumping on it. And we just had to slide it back up, get it as tight as possible, and as close as possible because we didn't really lose any material. So the rope is technically still all there. It'd be a good spot to put some of the glue to hold that section in place rather than trying to wind the entire thing and rely on one area of glue to hold all of the rope. So we'll give that a try. The glue gun is hot and ready to go. Just squeeze the handle and the glue comes out. Now you may find it gets a little messy at times. This particular model, which is relatively inexpensive, you have to use one glue stick to push the other glue stick, which is a little awkward in my opinion, but it works. The challenge with that particular setup is the new glue stick you use has not been heating up, so it's not going to be ready immediately. You're going to have to let that one sit and warm up as well. I don't know if a more expensive version has a larger reservoir, but again, for $5, it served its purpose. The process here was to simply apply a little bit of glue, add some of the rope, tighten it up, and repeat. We did this a few times to tack the rope in a few different places as best we could, fitting it in and trying to make it flush and fit back in place as best as possible. One thing to note about this glue gun, it can jam up on you, or rather the glue can cool down and create a small blockage. You can see here where that happened. I simply got a small screwdriver or something with a sharp point and pried it out, and it was fine. Our other site supervisor, Hooli, showed up to inspect the work and to also ask me to speed things up. We just continued wrapping and gluing until we had all the pieces back in place. Once all the main pieces are in place, we had a little bit of fray left over. So just cut that off, made that nice and smooth, tucked it in, applied a little more glue, and we're all set. Here's the finished product. Certainly not perfect, but far better than it was, and we'll get plenty more use before we have to move on. Of course, sisal has a tendency to shred, so we had to bust out the vacuum cleaner and clean up our mess. And watch out for glue residue. A little bit fell off here and created a sticky ball that you don't want the cats to get into. Here's the finished product. Certainly not perfect, but far better than it was, and we'll get plenty more use before we have to move on. Of course, we had to do a little usability testing, and so Squeaks was happy to help us out. Thanks for watching. We hope this was helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.